Welcome to your Monday. I'm Jay Cleveland Payne, a.k.a. your Mr. Monday, and this quick bit of motivation and inspiration was originally published on October 25th, 2021. The original message goes as follows. The most basic form of intelligence you can display is knowing what you do not know and knowing not to talk about those subjects in front of a large audience. So going deeper into this one, common sense, it should be, but you're listening to a messenger who's been telling you these messages for quite some time, and we know that people who listen to these things know that the general public tends to lack common sense. The uncommonness of uncommon sense is what's amazing about the world. People that should know how to have manners and how to do normal, just polite things tend to not know how to have manners and do polite things. So the best way to show that you are actually smart is simply to know when you're not very smart at something and then don't display that ignorance in front of a bunch of people. This also shows up very often in people's ability to know themselves. There's a very famous principle for people who don't actually know how bad they are at something by not actually knowing how bad they are at something. The best way to know if you have the right amount of talent or the right amount of humility to value your talent, that you may actually be better at this than you think, is if you have doubts of your ability. If you can listen to the words that you say and say, those don't sound very pretty. If you're a musician and you play something and you say, that didn't really hit, that note wasn't quite there. People who lack the ability to judge themselves on a just general basis think that everything they do is awesome. Everything they say is awesome. All they create is golden and have no ability to really disdain how good or bad things are. Now, yes, there are people at genius levels that know things that are extremely good. They also are their harshest critics. Unlike, let's say, children who believe that everything they're doing is awesome because, of course, they're awesome. They're awesome. They're children. Children are awesome. They don't really have the ability, because they don't have experience, to discern when things actually is not a bad thing, is not a good thing, or is a very bad thing. That also comes with a bit of science as children and adolescents and adults actually mature in their brain, and their brain actually works right. But for us adults, it's just a matter of just basically lying to ourselves. The best way to know what you know is to know what you know, and to figure out pretty quickly when you're in a room talking subjects that you don't know, that you don't know. That doesn't mean you can't learn very quickly, or join in a conversation and pick up what you can so you can be a part of the conversation and add something to it, or add something to it by just questioning it, so that letting someone who knows the answers to these things explain it to you in a way, and to the general public maybe, or just to themselves, to say it out loud. Practice saying the words of the things that smart people say, or just knowledgeable people say, or that common knowledgeable people say. But when you jump in a conversation and start to just sort of nod ahead and throw out bits and pieces to make sure that you sound smart enough to be there, as opposed to just being a human, which allows you to be there anyway, that's when things go off the rails. When you start spouting off knowledge that isn't knowledge, and in fact is pretty much ignorance, as something that is gospel, something that is true, something that does fall in line with the conversation, you make yourself look bad. You make the guest that brought you in kind of look bad. You can make the person having the conversation, explaining the smart-like stuff, kind of look bad, because they have to double over and re-explain your stuff and make you look bad in the process, because you're making everybody look bad because you don't know. So, basic knowledge, common courtesy. If you don't know a lot about something, it's not a bad thing to say, I'm not an expert in this. I don't know much about this. I'm not really read up on this. Asking for the basic information, basic explanation of things. And then, until you get more than the basic explanation and can actually at least regurgitate it, going off as if you are an expert in the subject, especially in a large crowd of people who may be actual experts in the subject, is always the wrong call. It's okay to not be the smartest person in the room. It's okay to not be a genius level in a group. It's okay to sit back and not talk if there's a large conversation going on of people who are talking. It's okay. If you know what you know and know what you don't know, you'll know what conversations that you need to be a part of and what conversation you need to sit out on. That is a true sign of intelligence, not the words spouting out of your mouth that will probably prove otherwise if you don't know the topics. The most basic form of intelligence you can display is knowing what you do not know and knowing not to talk about those subjects in front of a large audience. This original message was published on October 25th, 2021 from Welcome to Your Monday. For more messages like this one, plus books, merchandise, and other information related to this project, visit the website, welcometoyourmonday.com.